Zeus, the king of the gods, was known for his numerous romantic exploits. Among his many love interests was a beautiful nymph named Io. However, Zeus's wife Hera was ever watchful of her husband's affairs. To conceal his infidelity from Hera, Zeus transformed Io into a beautiful white cow. Despite the trickery, Hera was not fooled, as she immediately recognized the cow as her husband's latest object of affection. As a counter-trick, Hera requested the cow as a gift from Zeus. Trapped by his own deceit, Zeus had no choice but to acquiesce to his wife's request. Once the cow was in her possession, Hera appointed Argus Panoptes, a giant with 100 eyes, to guard Io and prevent Zeus from changing her back. Hera, still seething with jealousy, sent a gadfly, a type of stinging insect, to torment Io. The gadfly chased the transformed nymph across lands and seas, stinging her relentlessly. Turned into a deer and eaten by his own dogs. One fateful day, while Actaeon was hunting in the forest with his 50 hounds, he stumbled upon a secluded grove. To his surprise, he found the virgin goddess Artemis bathing in a spring.
Stop staring, you pervert.
Artemis, in her fury and embarrassment at being seen naked by a mortal, transformed Actaeon into a deer, leaving him still the mind of a man, a cruel twist of fate. She then turned his own hounds against him, making them unable to recognize their master in his new form. The hounds, trained to hunt and kill deer, saw only prey in front of them. The pack hunted down the deer with the same ferocity they would any other deer. His cries of terror and pain echoed through the wilderness, but no help came. Bound to an eternally burning and spinning wheel, Ixion, the king of Thessaly, married Dia, but refused to pay the bridal gifts to his father-in-law, Dionysus. In retaliation, Dionysus stole some of Ixion's horses.
Then I'll take your horses.
Ixion, in turn, invited his father-in-law to a feast at Larissa. But this was a trick, as Ixion pushed Dionysus into a bed of burning coals and wood, killing him. The act of killing a family member was a horrific offense in ancient Greece, making Ixion a social outcast. Zeus, however, took pity on Ixion and invited him to Olympus, the home of the gods, to cleanse him of his guilt.
I forgive you, my son.
But Ixion's audacity knew no bounds. He fell in love with Hera, Zeus's wife, and attempted to seduce her.
How you doing?
This was a grave offense, as Hera was the queen of the gods, and Ixion was merely a mortal guest in their divine realm. Hera, maintaining her dignity and loyalty, informed Zeus of Ixion's naughty advances. Zeus then decided to test Ixion's intentions before punishing him.
You've got one last chance, kid.
He created a cloud in the shape of Hera, named Nephele. Ixion, unknowingly, made love to it. In his wrath, Zeus devised a punishment that would forever torture Ixion for his wrongdoings. He ordered Hermes, the messenger god, to bind Ixion to a fiery wheel that was always spinning. This wheel was not just any wheel. It was made of bronze, covered in flaming torches, and was eternally spinning in the air, never touching the ground. Hair turned into living snakes. Medusa's tale begins in the city of Athens, where she was born as a beautiful maiden. She served as a priestess in the temple of Athena. Athena required her priestesses to remain virgins.
Listen up, girls. No funny business with the boys, okay? And I mean it.
However, Medusa caught the eye of the sea god Poseidon, who, stunned by her beauty, made a move on her.
You know, I'm used to the smell of fishes.
Stop it, you hairy bastard. I really shouldn't. You know Athena doesn't like it.
Despite Medusa's attempts to resist, Poseidon made love to her in Athena's temple. Instead of punishing Poseidon, Athena directed her wrath towards Medusa. The goddess transformed Medusa's beautiful hair into a nest of venomous snakes and made her face so terrifying that anyone who looked upon it would turn to stone. This transformation was not only a punishment, but also a form of protection, as it rendered Medusa invincible against mortal men.
Hey, have you seen Medusa recently?
No, but my friend here had a date with her last night.
She was banished to the ends of the earth, to an island known as Sarpedon.
Oh God, I am never getting laid again.
Medusa's story reaches its end with the arrival of the hero Perseus, who was tasked with retrieving Medusa's head. Perseus found the Gorgons asleep, and using the reflection in his shield to avoid looking directly at Medusa, he beheaded her. At that moment, Pegasus and Chrysaor sprang from her body, signifying her death and the end of her punishment. Chained to a mountain for all eternity. At a feast between mortals and immortals, Prometheus, the rebellious titan, decided to pull a trick on Zeus, the king of the gods. He placed 2 sacrificial offerings before the Olympian, a selection of beef hidden inside an ox's stomach, or good food hidden inside a displeasing exterior, and the bull's bones wrapped completely in glistening fat, something horrible hidden inside a pleasing exterior. Zeus chose the latter, leaving the good food for mankind. Zeus, upon realizing he's been tricked, got really mad at mankind and took away their fire. Prometheus, seeing mankind in a state of hardship, felt compassion for them. He decided to steal the divine fire from the gods and gift it back to humanity. Zeus was enraged by Prometheus's lousy act.
I am going to make this little trickster regret his actions.
He ordered Hephaestus, the god of fire and forge, to forge an impenetrable chain and chain Prometheus to a rock on the remote Caucasus Mountains. But the punishment did not end there. Every day, an eagle, the emblem of Zeus, would swoop down and feed on Prometheus's liver. The liver, according to ancient Greeks, was the seat of life and emotions, making the punishment all the more torturous. However, being an immortal titan, Prometheus's liver would regenerate every night, only to be devoured again the next day. Having visions of the future that no one believes, Apollo, the Greek god of prophecy, music, and healing, was smitten by Cassandra's beauty.
Want to touch my harp?
In an attempt to win her attention, he gifted her the ability to see the future. However, when Cassandra rejected his advances,
Sorry, I don't date short guys.
an angry Apollo added a cruel twist to his gift. He cursed her, ensuring that while she could predict the future, no one would ever believe her predictions. This curse transformed Cassandra's gift into a source of endless frustration and despair. She foresaw the fall of Troy,
I suggest you burn that horse immediately.
warning her fellow Trojans about the danger hidden within the Trojan horse. Her warnings were ignored,
Shut your mouth, you crazy woman.
and the horse was brought within the city walls, leading to the downfall of Troy. Following the city's destruction, she was taken as a war prize by Agamemnon, the king of Mycenae. She foresaw her own death and the murder of Agamemnon.
Your wife's gonna kill us both when we get home.
But once again, her warnings were ignored.
I didn't bring you here for talking.
Upon returning to Mycenae with Cassandra, Agamemnon was murdered by his wife, Clytemnestra. Cassandra, too, met a tragic end at Clytemnestra's hands, just as she had prophesied. Cursed with an everlasting hunger, Erysichthon, the king of Thessaly, once angered Demeter, the goddess of harvest and agriculture, by ordering the cutting down of a sacred grove dedicated to Demeter. Among the trees in the grove was a magnificent oak that was inhabited by nymphs. Despite warnings from the nymphs and his own men, Erysichthon ordered the oak to be felled. Demeter, enraged by the desecration of her sacred grove and the death of the nymphs, called upon Limos, the spirit of unrelenting hunger. He commanded Limos to enter Erysichthon, ensuring that no amount of food or drink could ever satisfy his hunger. The curse took effect immediately. Erysichthon began to feel an insatiable hunger and started consuming everything in sight, but his hunger only grew. He sold all his possessions, his kingdom, and even his own daughter, Mestra, to buy food. Mestra, who had been given a shape-shifting ability by her lover, the sea god Poseidon, escaped her buyers and returned to her father, but Erysichthon, in his desperation, sold her over and over again. In the end, with no food left and driven by the relentless curse, he began to consume his own flesh, thus meeting his gruesome end. Next video is in the making, so hit the subscribe button and don't miss it. If you thought the video was not funny enough, give it your best try in the comments and be the change you want to see in the world. History, but fast.